I've once again made some modification to the airline hubs table in order for us to play with the CSS and create an actual more visually pleasing table.
This video is brought to you by Pies Academy.
I'm going to take off this border equals 1 right here because we don't want to do that. Now, knowing that we're using CSS and the purpose of CSS being to add our graphic design, you should realize that we're not going to touch the HTML again at all. We're going to do all of this with CSS alone. So the HTML is going to stay absolutely consistent to what I have here. So anytime we're adding CSS, of course, we start by adding our style element. Put it right there in the head. Now, we can start giving IDs and classes here if we want to, but I'm going to start just by using the table tag itself. And on the table tag, I'm going to set a border of 1 pixel, solid black. Now, already that's going to make a little bit of a difference in how the table looks. I'm going to have to keep this up here because we're going to keep seeing what it looks like as we do make changes to the design. So that we've got that single line border. We can make that a little heavier or a different color. For example, let's go to is navy a color there? I'm not sure navy's a color. I don't think so. Try navy blue. I don't think it likes that one, so let's just go with blue. All right, and here we go. And there we go, slightly darker and navy blue. Now we can add our other lines to our table rows, our table headings, and our table data cells just like this. And here I might use a border, 1 pixel, solid, and again blue. So that's going to give us the lines in between the elements. And you'll notice you're still getting these double line borders. And I don't particularly like these. So what I'm going to do is here in the table tag, I'm going to use a CSS rule called border collapse. And with border collapse, I'm going to set the value of that to collapse, which is going to actually collapse the borders. Go ahead and save, and I think make them more visually pleasing, just like that. Now, we can also control things on the table itself, like the width. And we can set it, for example, to 100% of the width of the parent, which in this case would be the browser window. And now it's adjustable, see that? Or we could set 90% or 50% or whatever we wanted. We could also set it for a fixed number of pixels by leaving out the percent sign. So now it's going to be 500 pixels constant, no matter what we do to the size of the browser window. I kind of like the 500 pixel constant here, so I'm going to leave it at that. All right, so now let's say we wanted to set some background colors here. So on the table heading, all we're going to do is set a background color. And I want to set a very light gray, and I can look for one right here. So let's set a light gray. That says dark gray. I think it's kind of light. Let's keep going down here, see if we find what we like. There we go. There's our light colors. Let's go with light gray. I don't even know if you'll be able to see the difference, but let's try it. So let's bring our table back up here, refresh, and you can see the light gray at the back there. Hopefully you can see it on your monitor. Now, if I wanted to set every other row a different color, or every column a different color, now I can use classes and IDs, right? Because if I want, for example, all of the city backgrounds to be one color, the airports and the hubs another, then I can use some IDs, or classes in this case, right? Because we're going to use them more than one. So let's say for all the cities, we say class equals city, like this. And I'm going to use copy and paste here to set all these. So class equals city, making sure we get just the cities. Right, that one had a row span. You got to be careful to work around the row spans here. All right, couple more. DFW, that's an airport. Honolulu's a city. Perfect. Minneapolis is a city. I don't think we have any more of those row spans to worry about in our actual table. So New York is obviously a city. Happens to be my favorite city. And San Francisco, another favorite city of mine. Salt Lake City. Delta hub there. All right, so I've made all those cities class city. So now, because I use a class, we're going to use a dot in the selector and dot city to select the city class. And here, let's say we make the background color. Let's go with, let's see if we have like a light blue or something like that. Oh, light sky blue. I like that. I'm going to save. And let's go ahead and bring up our browser and refresh. And there we've got the light sky blue. Now, again, what we did was we made each city element a class city. Then we went ahead and made the city background color light sky blue. Now, let's say for the airport name, let's give that the class AN. Here I'm making the rule first. It doesn't matter what order I do this in. And let's make this light slate gray. I like light slate gray. And so now we've got to make all of the airport names, or the airports, class AN. And again, being very careful to work around any place where we have a row span or a column span. All right, so O'Hare, that's an airport name. Nothing there. But Dallas Love, there's an airport name. So we're going to insert that class AN. Let's make sure it's just the class AN. We don't reinsert the actual TD there. So no, oh, there's an airport name, right? DFW, class AN. And again, I'm being real careful where there's a row span or a column span so we don't make a mistake. Then Honolulu International gets easier towards the way, just the way this is designed, the bottom part of our chart. So here, what I'm doing is I'm setting up these individual classes so I could give each of these that same light slate gray background color we set for the AN class. All right, so you be real careful when you do that. It might help for you to actually have your table open as you work. So now all of those have a light slate gray. And for the airlines themselves, so let's make that class airline. And let's give that a dark color, like a very dark, blue is fine. I'm not really a designer. And let's make the color of the text white. So here the background color is dark blue, but the text will be white, and our class will be airline. So Delta's an airline, so we'll say class airline. And while the color coordination probably isn't going to be great, we're going to have a much more attractive table, in my opinion, than we did before. And you may want to work with an actual, graphic designer who knows how to make these things more attractive than I do when choosing your colors. But you get the idea of how to apply the different colors to the different elements within the table. Now, we could have done the same thing with the individual rows. That actually would have been even easier because we only have, we could alternate the rows with like odd even classes or something like that in order to set background colors depending on how many you wanted. All right, so there we go. I think we've got everything set. Let's take another look at our table, and I've saved, so we'll refresh. And there you go. We've got white text on a dark blue background. So there you go. We've made our table, I think, a little bit more attractive than it was before, and learned some of the cascading style sheet language needed to design tables in HTML.